G'day crew, Zoe here. I just I just need to defrag a little bit from the conversation that I just had. So the conversation of someone who I've had on my LinkedIn, and for those who are connected on my LinkedIn, thank you. I usually come across people from networking events or other things like that, and then I make LinkedIn my Rolodex. And then I was reached out to by a woman, and she says, I have a thing that might be interesting for you. And I'm like, cool, it might be a client, might be a thing. I'm always up for new experiences, all that good stuff. And then, so we organized time, and then I missed it somehow, or like there wasn't exactly anything concrete, so then missed that. But I just got off the phone with her just now, and it sounded like she was trying to get me to join a cult. So she was telling me something about how this person, who she wasn't giving me their name or their company name, she was telling me like they're, someone who stepped away from doing the 9 to 5 13 years ago, and now they mentor people in business and in life. Cool, fairly generic, but I kind of get where you're going at. Cool. And then she was dropping this example of this 28-year-old person, again, no information about them, that they've mentored them, and then they've been dropped totally out of it. And they're dropped totally out of their 9 to 5, and now they're living the life. Again, not going into any more detail on that. And I said, okay, this sounds interesting. Can you give me any details about anything? So then she started going on about a platform. And again, I'm like, okay, kind of going along with this. And then she proceeded to say, it's a cross between, Coles. And I said, Coles, and this is in Australian, by the way. So Coles as in the supermarket, like the shopping website platform, like where you buy stuff for Coles. And she said, yes, and cross between like Safeway, Home, what have you. I'm like, okay, right. And then again, every time I kept asking, can you give me the name that I'm looking at? And she kept saying, oh no, this is a private thing. I'm like, okay. And it kept sounding really dubious. And I just kept saying to her, why aren't you giving me any names? Why aren't you? And she's like, oh, this is only an introductory call. And I'm just sitting there being really confused because I'm not sure about anyone older in demographics, but for anyone my age, and I'm currently in my studio, so I'm sitting in front of 2 whopping computer screens. I'm like, can you give me a name so I can fact check, that I can look up? The fact that she's not giving me a name of the company, a name of the mentor, and she's going on about this platform, but then she's not giving me the name of the platform. And she's saying that, and I kept saying, look, so is this like a private Facebook group or a Slack or like, and she just kept going on like, this is only an introductory call. I want to sit down on a Zoom and have a chat with you. I'm like, her name, I don't really know you that well. And you're asking me, without giving me much proof, to trust you. And the way that you introduced everything, it was really confusing because the fact that you were brushing off my questions, you weren't taking time to even think. Like, you were just going straight to brushing off my questions and going straight into, like, what this does and who these, again, I don't know if these people even exist. And that's the part that keeps confusing me. Like, do these people even exist? And I'm just sitting there and I'm questioning her, being like, well, can you give me like the name of this mentor? Can you give me a name of a company? And she's like, oh no, I can't do that. I got to sit down and like, and then she brought up like Elon Musk, one who I do not enjoy and I despise as a human being. And I'm like, this is not going well. And you pretty much haven't canvassed me very well if you're making comparisons like that. And they were saying how this person was like Elon Musk, but, Elon Musk is if they're, stepped away from their business and now they're coaching and training people in small groups. Cool. I understand that people do that when people do mentoring. There are different types of mentors and groups out there and all that kind of stuff. But again, we're 10 and 12 minutes into this conversation and you haven't answered any of my questions with a straight face. And then I just said, cool, I'm going to cut my losses here. blocked her on all my platforms and channels and just went, hey, okay, this is really sus. You are not answering any of my questions. You want me to get onto a Zoom call with you or any of this. And it just sounds, and I came out and said it, this sounds incredibly culty. The fact that you are not giving me anything to work off. You are not giving me a name. You are not giving me a company. You are not giving me a brand. No matter how private something is in the business world, no matter how flippin' like covert something is, no matter how like, meshed in that your mentor group is private and such. The fact, and then I asked her at the end of the conversation, what exactly are you getting out of this? Because she kept saying like, this is only an introductory call. And I asked her, what do you get out of this? And again, she brushed off my question. She said, oh, I'm not getting paid for this. I don't get paid for this. I'm like, I don't care if you get paid for this. Well, kind of do, because that would inflect my answer. But the fact that you're not giving me any sort of details, you're expecting me to trust you, almost a complete stranger, wholeheartedly. Yes, I have you on my LinkedIn because, again, and looking at my further details, I met her, at a networking event like 5 years ago. But it was just the case that she wouldn't be answering my questions. And she kept mentioning things about, she didn't specifically say aura, but she said the type of person, and the type of person you are. I am up for challenges. I am up for whatever the universe gives me. I am open to what the universe can provide. But you have to answer my questions. And it just sounds like a cult. And she made me, she kept dropping, quotes as if like, you're special. I chose you. I made sure to reach out to you because you seem like a great fit, and like all this rhetoric and all this stuff. And I'm like, again, person, you're not answering any of my questions. And I am not inherently a skeptical person. I hear people out. But if you're supposed to be recruiting people to this cult or to this what have you, you need to sell me better first. But you also need to answer my questions, not just constantly deflect. And I really do not give a crap if they are exclusive, if they are, and again, the things that she kept bringing up the facts. So I think she's very methodical in that way, as I am too. She kept bringing up 13 years, stepped away from the business from 9 to 5. Cool. So does that mean they've been out of the industry for 13 years and all of their knowledge and all of their mentorship skills and stuff is 13 years or older? And she didn't say yes, but she didn't say no. I'm like, okay, what am I getting from this? So all in all, and I'm going to finish up this, I'm just deeply confused. I'm just deeply confused. I just had this call and then, like I said, I have just blocked them and just went, cool, don't quite understand. I've even reached out to a couple of connections that we've had together and just say, hi, do you know this person? Cool. I think they tried to sell me on a cult. And I'm just checking. Yeah, and I'm looking at it there, it's like, I can't even think of who this is. Yeah, I'm getting this impression. But again, it's just one of those things of, if you're going to ask someone anything, and even if it's like the Illuminati, people know what the Illuminati is. Like, there is a name attached to what you're giving me, but you're expecting someone to spend their whole time. And it's not a case that she was like, here are the millions and millions of dollars you can make. There was heavily implication of that, even though she didn't physically say it. There was heavily implication of that. It was also the case that she just wouldn't give me any names. She wouldn't give me anything to work with. And I'm just like, cool, I don't understand what exactly you're doing with me here. So, and then she's like, no, we need to sit down and have an introductory phone call, like get on the Zoom. You're asking me to invest more time into something that you're not going to answer my questions about. So yes, I just got off the phone. This is a debrief. I'm just going to sit down and just breathe it out and have a nice casual conversation with a couple of people that I know fairly well and just be like, hi, who is this person? Cool, this is weird. So you'll see this on IGTV soon enough.